Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Making your website responsive is critical in today's web environment. The majority of people access websites from their phones or tablets. In this video, I'll give you a brief demonstration on how to set up your website using a mobile first approach. Basically, this means that all of the mobile styles will be our default styles, and we'll set up media queries for larger phones, tablets, small laptops, and desktops. Now, I've set up some basic HTML elements with some content. I've also gotten started on the style sheet. I'm going to set up an additional selector here for every element on the page, and I'm going to set up box sizing to border box. Border box tells the browser to account for any border and padding in the value that you specify for an element's width and height. For example, if you set an element's width to 100 pixels, that 100 pixels will include any border or padding that you added, and the content box will shrink to absorb the extra width. It's basically giving us full control over the element size without the browser's default sizes getting in the way. We're also going to set up our margins to reset to 0 and padding to 0. And that will give us full control over all of the sizes within what we're working on here. So I've set up a font library from Google Fonts, and I've called that font in my body. I'm also going to set the height of the body to 100 pH, and I'm going to set the background color to light green. And now we're going to set the color of the font to like a dark gray. Okay, now we have an unordered list up here for our navigation. So we're going to set that to a list style of none. And we're going to set all of our images. As you can see, we've got some images here that are not currently responsive. So we're going to set those, and this you'll see this later on down the road. We're going to set these to a max width of 100% with a height of auto. And that will shrink these down. We're going to play more with the padding on either side of the content. First, we're going to start with our navigation. And we're going to do all of our mobile styles first, and then we'll work on our larger phone, tablet, and so forth. So we'll start with the nav, and we're going to set that to a background color of gray. And then we want to target the unordered list. So that's nav and UL. And for that, we're going to set the UL to display flex. We're going to justify the content to space between. That'll spread them out nice and evenly. And we're going to set some padding. Top and bottom will be 5 pixels. Left and right will be 10 pixels. And then we'll jump down to the links within the nav UL A, and we'll set those to text decoration of none and color of white. Okay, and that will change the way that those look. Okay, now we'll focus on our H1, which is the My Website title. So H1, and we'll set a font size of 3 rem, font weight of 300, text transform uppercase, and we'll add some letter spacing in there as well, just 3 pixels. That'll spread it out a little bit. Okay, next we'll target our paragraphs down here. These are all kind of scrunched up against each other. So for that, we're going to give it a font size of 1.1 rem and a line height of 1.5 rem, or just 1.5, and a margin top and bottom of 1 rem and 0 left and right. Something else we forgot in here was to assign some styles to the main. So main, this will set the entire main to display flex. We'll set the flex direction column, and we're going to set padding left of 1 rem, padding right 1 rem. All right, and that will bring it in a little bit on either side. Okay, so basically these are our mobile styles here. Okay, now we're going to start focusing on some of the larger device styles. So we'll start with 768 pixels. So let's jump to 770, 771. All right, 771, and now we're going to focus on how we can make these adjustable and appear as though they belong on the screen the way that we set them up. So right about here, we're going to set up a media query, set up a min width. Okay, this is how you use mobile first, is by using min widths. And we'll start with the body. We're going to change the background color, and this is just for effect so that you can see how things change as you increase the screen size. We'll change that to light blue, and now the screen background color will change to a light blue. And now we'll target the nav UL, and we're going to justify content, and we'll set that to flex end. And now all of those will move to the end. Now we'll target the nav UL LI. We'll set a margin of 0 top and bottom, 1.5 rem left and right, and that will spread them out a bit. Okay, now let's focus on the H1. So we'll jump down here, and just below that, we'll do another media query. $768. And for this, we're just going to do justify content, flex, start. And I wanted, at this level, I want to set it to display flex, and I want to justify the content to the center. Okay. And we ran into an error here. What is our error? Oh, I see. I didn't include my selector in here. Like that. There. Now, when you're on smaller screen sizes, the title is centered, but when you reach 768, the background color is going to change, and the title is going to move to the left, like that. And the navigation moves to the right. Okay, also, let's go ahead and set up a class for these images here. So we set it up as cats images, and then 2 images are nested inside of that. So cats images, Set that to display flex and flex direction column. Now they're at this level, they'll remain in a column fashion. And now we also need to set up images that are butting up next to each other. So cats, images, and then image, and we'll use the sibling selector. Image plus image, we want margin top to be 1 rem. And now it'll separate them by 1 rem. All right, now if we go back to the 768 pixels, okay, these images are getting pretty huge. So we want to cut those down a bit. So now we'll write a media query below this 768 pixels. And we'll do cats images. We're going to set the flex direction to row. Because we've already set cats images in the default property to display flex, when we write it in the media query for a larger screen size, we don't need to write display flex again. We just need to change whatever it is that we're going to change when we get to this media query size. All right, now we need to change the actual size of the image because right now it creates an overflow. So for this, it's going to be cats images, image. It's targeting one image now. We want to set the width to 49%. Okay. And we need to remove that top margin. Okay. So for that, we're just going to unset it. So cats images, image, sibling, image. So we want to remove the top margin, but we want to create a margin between them. So it's going to be margin top, unset, margin left, 1 rem. Okay, and that will keep them split up properly. You could even do it a little bit less. Okay, and now when we go between them, they'll go from a column fashion to side by side. Okay, and you can see the other things at work here as the nav and the title, website title, and so forth. Okay, next thing we'll do is we'll move on to our body again. So we're going to go up to 1024. We've just targeted tablets and phones. Now we're going to go up to laptops and some desktops even. So we'll go up to, we're at 1028 right now. So let's go back up to this section here. And we're going to do another media screen and min width 1024. And now we want to change the body's background color to something different. So background color, go with light coral. And we'll change the font color to black. Okay. And we're going to change the nav UL. We're going to move it from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen. So nav UL. We're just going to change, we're only changing the property that we need to see changed. It's already set to flex, so we don't need to write display flex again. Just justify content flex start. Now we'll move over here. Okay, so it's spread out evenly, then it's to the right, and then it's to the left. And you can see other things at play here as well. Now, the last thing that we're going to set up is when we get to even larger screen sizes. I'm at 1315 right now. This is taking up too much of the site. The site is getting really big. The content's getting really big as well. So for that, we're going to change, let's get down to just over 1200. Well, let's get to 1300 so that you can see the change really happen. So we're at 1302. Okay, and just below the main here, I'm going to create another media query. Set a min width of 1200 pixels. And we're going to target the main selector. We're going to set a max width of 1100 pixels. And then in order to center this, it's going to be margin 0 auto. That will put everything into the middle. And that way, no matter how wide your screen gets, the content will never take up more than 1100 pixels. So if we go back down to the beginning here, we're at almost 400 pixels. So this would be your phone. And just for the sake of it, especially on mobile devices, I don't like keeping that scroll bar in there. So let's remove the scroll bar. That will remove the scroll bar. And then you get another, I think it's 17 pixels worth of real estate on the page. Okay, and if you wanted to add it back later, you certainly could just add it to another media query further down the line. Okay, so we're at phone sizes here. Okay, little wider phone sizes. And then you get to tablets. Then you get to some smaller desktops and laptops, and then larger desktops. Okay, so I hope that video helped. If it did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.